welcome to this episode of Sunday Inspiration. I hope you've been enjoying Sunday Inspiration, and today's episode is not going to be any different. So, some of you may be like me. You have found yourself in a very interesting situation over the last couple of weeks, and that is the situation of, I am now a homeschool teacher. None of us could have imagined that we'd be in this position, but here we are in the position of being homeschool teachers. But I got some news for you today. We've got some help for you. So joining me today on this episode is Greater Works' own Tila Litford. Tila, hey.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Well, thank you for joining us. And Tila is a seasoned veteran educator. And so I think she's going to have some really great tips for us who find ourselves in this very, very new position. So Tila, my first question to you is, so how long you've been teaching?
I have been teaching for 12 years. I taught 6 years in CMS, and I'm currently in Fort Mill. I guess you can say finishing up a 6th year.
Well, awesome. So, like I said, some of us are now struggling to be homeschool parents, and just real curious to hear from you. Kind of like, what are some tips that we can use as we endeavor on this journey? Like, is there a best time to do work? Should we follow a schedule like what they give us at school? Should we be like setting up special areas like at the kitchen table to do work? Like, give us some help. What should we be doing?
Well, I think that it's very important that you don't try to push your routine and how you do things on your children. Me, I like to be up at 7. I like to get my day started. However, my daughter doesn't operate like that. So I have learned that I let her sleep in to a reasonable time, maybe 9 or 9:30. And then when she gets up, she eats breakfast, and then she starts her schoolwork. And if the teacher is lenient, saying that everything doesn't have to be done that day, it's okay. Maybe let them work for an hour or two, take a break, get a snack, and then come back and do a little bit more work. I do find that students focus more if they have a designated place in the house that they know they're doing their work and not easily distracted. But don't think it's supposed to be like a 7 to 3 school day. It's not going to operate like that at all. And then you're going to get frustrated. They're going to get frustrated. And then your day is pretty much done, and you're ready to send your child back to a building that you can't send them to. So it requires a lot of patience, and you have to also understand how your child operates. If they don't focus very well, give them 30 minutes to work and then give them a break. And then another 30 minutes, but understand that by the end of the week, they have a deadline that they have to meet. So therefore, maybe they would put restrictions on themselves.
Those are some really good tips, and just listening to them kind of help me get myself off the hook a little bit, right? Because I'm like, hey, the school day starts at 7, so you got to be up at 7 so you can be on the same schedule, because when you go back, I don't want you to lose your schedule. And we've got to make sure you've got a full 8 hours in, because that's what you would get at school. So it's really good to hear from you, an educator, on the fact that, look, you don't need to do that, and kind of try to figure out a schedule that's going to work for your kid. And if you've got a teacher, like you said, that's lenient, figure out how you can get things done, but it doesn't have to mirror what they're getting in the everyday school system. So I truly love that. And I think some of us parents, it felt good to hear it. So now we can take a collective, we can exhale, right? Because we know it is not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It is a marathon. And one of the things I think that I'm learning is our kids are resilient. So I know there's some folks who are like, hey, they're going to be so scarred after this. But I think our kids are pretty resilient. What do you think?
Absolutely. Kids are resilient overall. They're going to bounce back. Whatever routine. Now, kids do like routine. I say have some type of routine because they like that structure, whether they're going to admit it or not. So just have a routine in your home for completing schoolwork. And then when they go back, they'll be able to hop right in as though this never occurred. So they are resilient. And like I said, don't try to push your agenda on them. Okay. Just kind of let them flow a little bit. They know you're watching. They're very much aware.
That's hilarious. That's good. And that's so true. So true. So, one of the reasons I wanted to have you join me for Sunday Inspiration today is because you didn't want to just provide some tips. You also wanted to provide some help to those of us who are looking for some assistance, looking for another pair of hands to kind of help us in this journey. So, tell us a little bit about how you're available to help. And then also, if we want some of this help, how do we get in contact with you?
So I know when it was all rolled out, parents were just seemingly overwhelmed, thinking, I'm going to have to teach my child at home. I still have to work at home. I got to feed my child. So not only are you the teacher and the parent, you're also the cafeteria worker, and you're a whole lot of other things in the home. So it was just overwhelming, just the thought. And me just being a teacher naturally, I felt like I could do something to take a little bit of that off parents' shoulders. You have a obedient child that do the work. However, you want to still make sure that they're learning and that they are actually their work is right. You don't want them doing all their work incomplete or in it be all wrong. So I feel like I can be here to assist you to make sure that your child is actually learning the content that they're supposed to be learning. And especially if they're in elementary school, I can tell you where they need to be in order to be prepared for the next grade, because we just don't know if we'll make it back to school this year. So what I was thinking was having office hours where via Zoom or Google Meet or Hangout, you could stop in between certain hours during the day, let's say example for 2 to 4. And if they have a question, I'll be available to help them with work, because you may be at work or you may be in the house on another conference call. I know that we just have a lot going on right now. So if you have a question, then you could just stop in and I could assist in any way possible. If there's not a question and you just want me to check and make sure that your child is doing the work correctly, or ask them additional questions to make sure that they understand or comprehend what they're doing, that could be an option as well. As far as getting in touch with me, you could contact me via email, and I will send you out the Google Hangouts and, a survey to say, this is what I need help with. Can you help me? I'm available during this time. Maybe you're not available during the office hours, or your child is not available during that time because I know that they still have school. Then that is how I will communicate with you.
So that's awesome. So thank you so much for offering your assistance in that way. And you talked about the Google form. And so in the comment section of Sunday Inspiration, you will find Tila's contact information so that if you are looking for that help and you need that extra pair of eyes, like I said, or that extra pair of hands, you'll be able to get in contact with Tila so that she can provide that service. So thank you to you. And I know there's some other places, like there's some colleges who are also offering tutoring assistance. So we're including that information into the comment section as well, so that you can take advantage of those pieces as well. So I'll have to ask you, I know you are, like I said, you're an educator, you're used to being in school right now. So if there was one thing that you miss about being in school right now, what would be that thing that you miss?
I miss my students.
Oh,
Oh, and this is hard to answer without crying. Because as much as we love them, and they love us, and they keep us grounded too. We learn from students every single day. And just to not have that interaction with them, some of them I know may be hungry, or some of them just need to know that someone asks how their day is going. And that's something that I truly, truly miss. And I don't know that we'll go back this year, so I'm mentally and emotionally preparing myself.
Yeah.
Um, but I miss my kids, and my kids know that Miss Clifford misses them. As hard as I am on them in the class, because I am really hard on them, they know that it was from a place of love.
Yeah, awesome. I felt the emotion. You're gonna have me crying. I'm the inspiration. Um, so I know your kids may be watching now. What would you like to say to your students if they're watching?
No, Miss Clifford has not forgot about you. I think about you every single day, and I'm here. I may not be here in body, but I am still here, and you have all of my contact information to get in touch with me if you need me in any way. If you just want to talk, it doesn't have to be about school because we're on spring break. But if you just want to have a conversation, I'm here.
Awesome, awesome. Thank
Yes,
you so much for that. And your kids that you teach are super lucky to have you as a teacher. So I'll say that to you. So one
thank you.
of our running questions every week on Sunday Inspiration is, where have you seen Christ show up? Kind of, where have you seen God? So Tila, I'll ask you, where have you seen God today?
Oh, it started early. It was like he was on my heels when I woke up. Um, I had some work I was trying to accomplish this morning at my desk, and I needed my scanner to work on my printer, and it wouldn't work, and I had no idea why. And I'm not a troubleshooting person. I will put it off for weeks, months, but I was like, I'm gonna do this today. So I worked on it for 2 hours, and after 2 hours, I was done. I was like, no, I'm over this. My mother, who is a troubleshooting person, she was like, oh, you can do it. It's fine. And I was like, no, Mom, I'm going to call you back. And I sat here and I said in my head over and over again, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. And I said it out loud. I said, I don't have time for this. And it's like he said, well, why don't you?
Hmm.
Like, I've given you so much time, and you're going to sit here and still say that you don't have time for this? What don't you have time for? And I said, well, I guess maybe I do have time for this. And he's and a plethora of other things, and everything that went through my head that I've always said, I wish there were more time in the day, and I wish I had enough time to do this and this. I have the time. So I took it easy today because he assured me that you have some time. I've blessed you with so many things. And now it's time for you to just enjoy them. So today I enjoyed a book and I enjoyed my couch, something that I don't do often, because he told me that it was okay. And it was okay that the scanner didn't get fixed. It just didn't get fixed, and it was okay.
Hey man, I totally love that. So you
Yes.
have time. And you know what? I needed to hear that today because I think sometimes I also say, oh, well, things seems to be going, 10,000 miles a minute and we're just running, but you're so right. We do have time. So I so appreciate that. Your testimony, about how God showed up for you today. So that is
Yes.
awesome. Well, Tila, this has been amazing. I've just really enjoyed our conversation. I've enjoyed the tips that you've shared. Thank you for being vulnerable with me and, allowing your emotion also to come through again. I felt the passion. I feel the passion that you have for your students. And like I said, I just think they are beyond blessed. So again, thank you for sharing your time with me today.
But thank you for having me. I've enjoyed being here and
Aw-
sharing my testimony and my story and my hopefully help.
Well, awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. And thank all of you for joining us for this episode of Sunday Inspiration. I truly hope that it has blessed you the way that it has blessed me. Until next time.